Hello students, welcome back once again. Today we shall discuss about structural features of periodic table. In the long form of periodic table consists of the vertical rows called groups and the horizontal rows known as periods. In the previous unit, we have learned that an electron in an atom is characterized by a set of 4 quantum numbers, and the principal quantum number n defines the main energy level known as shell. We have also studied that the filling of electrons into the different subshells, also referred as orbitals, that is SPDF in an atom. The distribution of electrons into the orbitals of an atom is called the electronic configuration. The element's location in the periodic table reflects the quantum numbers of the last orbital filled. In this section, we shall observe the direct connection between the electronic configurations of elements and the long form of periodic table. First of all, let us discuss about the electronic configurations in periods. The period indicates the value of n for the outermost or valence shell. The number of elements in each period is twice the number of atomic orbitals available in the energy level. Let us study group-wise electronic configurations. Elements in the same vertical column or group have similar valence shell electronic configurations. The same number of electrons in the outer orbitals and similar properties. Children, look at this table. Here we have lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. This is our first group. Okay, and if you look at the electronic configurations, you will find that similar valence shell electronic configuration means the last electrons enters into the s orbital here. Okay, that is in case of lithium it is 2s1 and sodium it is 3s1, potassium it is 4s1, rubidium it is 5s1, cesium it is 6s1 and francium which is found in the 7th period it has got a 7s1 electronic configuration. Now let's see what is S block elements. The elements of group 1, that is our alkali metals, and group 2 alkaline earth metals belong to the S block elements. The outermost electronic configuration is NS1 and NS2. As you see here, hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium belongs to group 1, that is our alkali metals, and beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium and barium comes in the group 2 alkaline earth metals. So these two groups having a general electronic configuration of NS1 to 2, either it contains NS1 or NS2 electronic configuration. So they belong to the S block elements. Okay. Next we have properties of S block elements. As I mentioned, this is our S block where two groups are there. That is our first group as well as the second group. These are reactive metals with low ionization enthalpies. So children, what is the first point? These are reactive metals. Children, you know sodium, potassium and all very highly reactive. These are very highly reactive metals with low ionization enthalpies. What do you mean by ionization enthalpies? Means enthalpy is actually the amount of heat energy released only, that we will be studying in our thermodynamics when we learn. Now you must understand that enthalpy means the amount of heat energy released or absorbed during a reaction. Okay, so here ionization enthalpy means the amount of energy required, the amount of energy required to release an electron. So first group and second group elements have always tendency to release the electrons very fast, isn't it? So they have a low ionization energies, or energy or enthalpy, both are same only. They lose the outermost electrons readily to form +1 ion in case of alkali metals, or +2 ion in case of alkaline earth metals. The metallic character and the reactivity increases as we go down the group. So the size increases, because the size is increasing, so we can say that their reactivity also increases, as well as their metallic character also increases down the group. Because of high reactivity, they are never found in pure states. Next we shall study about p block elements. The elements belonging to group 13 to 18 are p block elements. The elements of s block and p block together are called representative elements or main group elements. The outermost electronic configuration varies from ns2 nb1 to ns2 nb6. Children, in this case, ns configurations means s orbitals are already completed. So the filling of electrons will start into p orbitals. So p1, boron's case p1, then carbon's case it will be p2. Like that it will go, and when it reaches the noble gases, you will have a nb6 configuration, means the p orbital will be completed. A noble gas element with a closed valence shell ns2 nb6 configuration is present at the end of each period. All the orbitals in the valence shell of the noble gases are completely filled by electrons. This is very difficult to alter this stable arrangement by the addition or removal of electrons. The noble gases thus exhibit very low chemical reactivity. Okay, so because of the completely filled electronic configurations, noble gases show very less chemical reactivity. That's why they are also called inert gases. Look at the picture. Here we have helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. These are our noble gases. They have a very low chemical reactivity. Two chemically important groups of nonmetals are halogens and chalcogens. Halogens are group 17 elements and chalcogens are group 16 elements. Let's see their properties. These two groups of elements have high negative electron gain enthalpies and readily add 1 or 2 electrons respectively to attain the stable noble gas configuration. So they are always in a tension to get that 1 or 2 electrons into it and complete their octet. That's why they are highly reactive. The non-metallic character increases as we move from left to right across the period, and metallic character increases as we go down the group in p block elements. Next, let us discuss about d block elements. The elements from group 3 to group 12 in the center of the periodic table belongs to d block elements, or we can also call them as transition elements. The outer electronic configuration of d block elements is n-1 d 1 to 10 ns 0 to 2. Means the first period which comes is in the 4th energy level, but the filling is done in the 3d orbitals. That's why it is called n-1 d. So one n number will be less. They all are metals only. They mostly form colored ions and they exhibit variable valencies. it does not have a single valency. The valencies are different, or we can say they show different oxidation states that we will study in our coming classes. Then they show paramagnetism, means the magnetic properties they show, and often used as catalyst. Zinc, cadmium and mercury does not show most of the properties of transition elements. You can see they are colored differently at the end, Zn CDHG as the 12th group. Okay, they show some difference in the properties of transition elements. Their study and all we will be doing in the next standard. And also children, one more thing you have to remember, this D block elements, you don't need to study group wise, you have to study them as period wise, like scandium to zinc, then yttrium to cadmium, like that you have to study. Okay, next we have F block elements. The elements at the bottom of the periodic table are lanthanides and actinides, belongs to F block elements or inner transition elements. The outer electronic configuration of F block elements is n-2 F1 to 14, n-1 D0 to 1 ns2. That means the F electrons, F orbital can accommodate 14 electrons. That's why it is written 1 to 14. But in these orbitals, sometimes D orbital 1 electron will be there, otherwise there is no electron, and ns orbitals will be filled. That is the 6th and 7th period it belongs to. So 6s and 7s, that is our ns, will be filled. That's why ns2 is written. So okay, so this they are having a general electronic configuration of n-2 F1 to 14, n-1 D0 to 1 ns2. Actinide elements are radioactive, which are made only in nanogram quantities or even less by nuclear reactions. So they are actually very highly reactive. At the same time they are radioactive in nature. They themselves radiate energy. So they are actually found in very less quantities. The elements after uranium are called transuranium elements. So children, this also you have to remember. Uranium is the 92nd element. After uranium, those elements comes are called transuranium elements. You can see in the figure lanthanides and actinides. This actually starting with lanthanum. Lanthanum is in actually D block only, lanthanum and actinium. But lanthanides includes lanthanium to lutetium, and actinides starts from actinides to lauretium. In addition to displaying the classification of elements into S, P, D and F blocks, elements can be broadly classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. First of all, let us see what are the properties of metals. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals are usually solids at room temperature except mercury. Metals usually have high melting and boiling points. Metals are malleable, that means they can be pounded into thin sheets, and they are also ductile, that means they can be stretched into thin wires. Next we shall look into non-metals. Non-metals are located at the top right hand side of the periodic table. Non-metals are poor conductors of heat and electricity. Non-metals are solids or gases at room temperatures with low melting and boiling points. Non-metallic solids are brittle and are neither malleable nor ductile. Finally, we have metalloids. Metalloids have properties of both metals and non-metals. They are solids that can be shiny or dull. They conduct heat and electricity better than non-metals but not like metals. They are ductile and malleable. Some examples are boron, silicon, germanium, etc. So students, trends in modern periodic table we will be discussing in the next class. Thank you and have a nice day.